Hello everybody and welcome to day 7 of Craftmas. I'm doing something a little fun today and this month. I'm going to share with you the designs for my color club that happens every month. This is the last card thing that I have happening, and this month the color club is based on Berry Burst. That is our color this month, and these are the products I'm using. Some Berry Burst cardstock, the Snowflakes Sky embossing folder, and then those inks that you just saw. I'm sorry about the shaking of the camera. It will stop here in just 1 second. There's a lot that happens with these cards, and I thought it would be fun to share. I usually don't share the video of me actually making the cards. I share an overview, and then those who purchase the color club then get access to my video for my 2 cards. They also get access to Roberta's video that she creates. She creates 2 cards, and you get to see her video, and then you get a PDF with 4 cards. And then I send you the 2 cards so that you can make the 2 cards that I've created. So all you have to do in order to get these card kits sent to you is place a $40 order before shipping and tax, and I will send you the 2 card kits for free. And you will get all of the pieces to make these cards and the envelopes. So I will talk about that a little bit more in just a second. Let me catch up to what I'm doing. I've taken an embossing folder. I'm using a brayer. And then I am taking the Berry Burst ink. I inked that onto the embossing folder. And then I took a little bit of adhesive. I would suggest a repositionable adhesive. And I put some adhesive on the cardstock, and then I added that to the top of the embossing folder. Now, in fairness, I saw Kristina Warner do a technique like this recently with one of the cards that she did, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I wanted to try it for Berry Burst because I wanted to make some winter cards for this color, and I thought snowflakes would be perfect. And when I saw what she did with her card, I thought it was perfect. It's gonna darken up this Berry Burst cardstock really nicely. So I did the Berry Burst at the bottom, and then I cleaned everything up, and then I put Moody Mauve onto that embossing, onto the brayer, and then I added it to the embossing folder going down into where the Berry Burst was. And so I'm just working my way with a couple different inks, and you'll see that. And then there is some cleaning you have to do in between, definitely, and my fingers definitely got stained purple and pink, but it ends up working out really well. Now, at this point in the process, I'm really doubting that this looks good. I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to finish it, but I'm not loving it. I don't think that it really looks that great. Now, when I was done with the cards and I started editing it and I saw it all together, I realized there was definitely like color variation, but when I was looking at this, it didn't initially look like there was a lot of color on there. So this is why I definitely recommend using repositionable adhesive. I had a bit of a hard time getting that up off the embossing folder. So the first panel here is a little bit shorter than the actual card. And then I'm going to take my blending brush, and I don't do a lot of blending. It's not really my favorite thing to do. I probably should have used a lighter ink to do this last round. I think that might have been where it went off the rails a little bit. Kristina Warner used the last layer that she did a lighter ink. So I'm just taking that and adding ink all around the edges and then to the raised snowflakes, and then where the ink is the darkest is where that will be the top of the card. So next I have some of this glitter paper, and I wanted to add some color to it. At first I thought I would try to use my blending brush and add color to it. I wanted it lighter. So you can see that I'm using the light ink. Now this maybe would have worked. And then I was like, well, maybe I should just press it into the ink pad. But then my ink pad was getting really glittery. The glitter was flaking off. So I thought, well, maybe that's not a good idea. Then I thought, well, let me take the marker and let me just dab it on. And then I started rubbing it. I do not recommend this. Don't do this to the glitter paper unless you're totally fine with it scuffing up your marker. I was really fine with it. I just did it on the edge, and then I didn't press really hard into it. And so I thought, okay, well, that gives me a little bit of color. So then I'm coming in with the snowflake punch, and I'm just punching a bunch of these snowflakes out. Now, if you get the card kit, you will get the glitter snowflakes. That will be part of the card kit for sure. You will need to ink them however you want to ink them. I ended up then going in with a dabber, and this really worked, and then inking a bunch of them in different colors. I used the Moody Mauve, the Berry Burst. I also took my dabber and just pressed it into the baby wipe to clean it off a little bit, and then that made it a little bit wet, and then I dipped it into the ink and continued to do that so that I got several different color variations on the snowflakes. And then I just took a piece of scrap paper, which I will use in our next card, and I dabbed off some of the wetness of that dabber. And then again, I just changed the inks, and then I went on. You can really see the way the ink color dramatically changed the cardstock, and I really like that. That was the whole point, is I wanted to darken up that Berry Burst cardstock. So instead of using designer paper for this month's Color Club cards, I really just used the cardstock and worked with the cardstock. I darkened that up some. And then I added some foam to the front of this. And then here's these snowflakes, all these different snowflakes that I have that are different colors. And I wanted to do either 3 or 5 because it's nice when you do an odd number and not an even number of embellishments or die cuts. So I think I will settle on 3. And then what I'm doing off camera here, and I sped it up some, is I am inking a circle. So one of these little circles, it was just from my die cut basket that I have. I just took some Moody Mauve and then a lighter color ink, and I inked the circle, and you're gonna see that in 1 second. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was off camera. So you can see that there's darker ink on the bottom, and then it's lighter towards the top of that circle, and I did that on purpose. I wanted it to have a very blended look where there was a darker spot and then there was a lighter spot. I'm using a stamp set that is retired. I've used this a lot this season. I really love it. I used it in the last card, I think yesterday, with the holly leaves. That's the stamp set that I used. So this says, "May your season be cozy," which I thought would be great for a snowflake card. And then I'm just going to start arranging all of these pieces onto this card. I'm going to pop some items up, and then I'm going to use my liquid glue and add some of them flat. So again, this is for my Color Club cards for the month. And if you want to receive 2 card kits that have envelopes and then all of the pieces you need, you will receive the glitter snowflakes, and then you will also receive the sequence that I'm going to use on here. You will receive that as well. So all you have to do is place a $40 order. Make sure that you are placing that order with me as your demonstrator. Make sure that order is $40 before shipping and tax. It has to be $40 so that then I can send you the items in the mail. And I will send you these. You will get an email with 2 video links. You'll get this video so that you can watch it to put together your cards. You will get the PDF with all of the measurements, and then the PDF will also feature 2 cards using Berry Burst, featuring that color from my good friend Roberta, and then her cards will also be on the PDF with measurements. So if you want to recreate her cards, you can do that as well. And then there's a link in the description below or over on my website for you to be able to place an order with me. I ended up using 5 of the snowflakes. I popped some up and then I made some flat. And then I brought in these really beautiful sequins and just added them around the snowflakes. Now there's definitely a more dramatic look when you see the inked piece together. And if I would have realized that, I probably would have inked it even more, maybe gone over it a couple times. I really like that technique of adding the ink to the embossing folder and then running it through the your die cutting machine. So, and then I used a brayer to do that. And spoiler alert, if you hang out until next month, Stampin' Up! Is coming out with a brand new brayer, which is beautiful. And that's very exciting that technique is coming back. So here I just took that piece of scrap paper that I had used to clean my dauber off, and I'm going to put a bunch of adhesive on it. I've cut a bunch of strips in the Berry Burst, Moody Mauve, the Bubble Bath, and then the color I can never say. That it was an in color last year and then it returned this year. I know you guys have tried to help me so many times understand how to say that color, and I never can. And then I get super nervous that I'm going to say it wrong on camera. So then I always just don't say it. So you can see those colors at the beginning of the video. So then I also cut some strips of the glitter, and you will get the strips of glitter as well to be able to create this. You'll get some of the colored cardstock that you'll need to cut yourself. And then I think what I'm going to do is include 1 sheet of the glitter in everybody's kit, as long as I have enough of that. Otherwise, I will cut everything up so that you can do it. So the key with this is to make sure that you cut your strips long enough. You're going to see the next strip that I add, I'm going to create a problem for myself. You also want to make sure that you put glitter all over the scrap piece, so that you can make sure that nothing is going to lift. So right here, I didn't realize until I attached it that it didn't go all the way up to the card, and I can't pull it up because there's so much adhesive. So I'll fix that, but going forward from this point, I really made sure to make sure my strips were long enough and were going all the way across the card. I am rotating the different sizes. So I have some that are thinner and some that are thicker, and I'm just rotating the colors and then also the sizes. And then I'm also making sure to get those right up next to each other so there's no gaps. I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue just to this corner and then add this piece in so that there's no white spot there. But you just want to be careful when you're adding your strips to make sure that they go all the way across your card. Okay, and then I will just continue doing this. So next week, I think Tuesday's video, will be a Stampin' Up! Haul of all of the things I got from the upcoming catalog. It is a really good one. I think it is one of the best catalogs we've had in probably 3 catalog rounds. And I spent way more than was probably necessary, but I really do love a lot of the items. So you will be seeing that. You won't be seeing the actual catalog. I'll do that in January, but you will be seeing the items that I purchased, which I thought would be fun. And I will also be announcing all of the details for my upcoming paper party with Pip and Alyssa. We're doing it again. Our party will be in February, in late February. And once I have all the paper and I can do proper photos and share that, then I will have all the details and the sign up. So if you are looking forward to another paper party, stay tuned, because next week all of that information will be out. So after I added all the strips, I just cut it down another 1/4 of an inch so that it would be like I could do a layer. I'm going to cut my Berry Burst cardstock at 4 1/4. That's going to give me my card base. And then the first layer is going to be this striped layer. You could also emboss the striped pieces. You would want to emboss maybe your cardstock before you cut the stripes, and then cut your strips to make the stripes. So then with my sponge dauber, I just took that Berry Burst ink, and then you can just see I'm not being careful at all because all that's going to be covered up. I just wanted to ink the edges to intensify that color. I will add some foam to this, and it will be the first layer of the card. So we will add that, and then I'm going to add some circles to this. I got this on wrong. I'm going to try to pull it up. It's not the easiest. I tear a little bit of the cardstock, but it works out fine. I hadn't pressed it down yet, and I just wanted to get that centered nicely. And you can kind of see my fingers are so stained from all this inking. It is one of the reasons I don't always love to do inking, is because I don't really like my hands to get covered in ink where I can't clean it. So here is where I'm just trying to decide, how am I going to put a sentiment on this? And I'm going to end up doing circles. And I left this part in. A lot of times will cut this part out when I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. And if I would have just done those 3 circles, I think it would have been fine. But I kept thinking like I needed to add more. And I realized it just was not, that wasn't going to work. But I think the circles with all the stripes would have worked really well if I just would have done 3 and then added some snowflakes. And I think that could have been really nice. But sometimes you just have to try things out. A lot of times when I'm making my cards, this is what I'm doing. I know I want to do one element. Like for me, the element I wanted was the striped. And then now I need to figure out how to add sentiments, and I want to add some more snowflakes. So I'm going to do 3 circles across the front. I am going to also add some snowflakes. I really like the way that this second card comes out. Because the circles are bigger, I can add a larger sentiment, but I'm going to do that same technique where I blend the color on these circles, and now you will be able to see how I did that. Once I got all the blending done and then I stamped the sentiment, then I'm going to bring them back over to the card, and I want to overlap them. Obviously, they're too big to go side by side. I could have, I didn't think about this till just now, but I could have made it a landscape card. I could have done it horizontal instead of vertical, and then I probably could have lined those up, but I'm just going to use liquid glue. I did that so that I could move things around if I needed to, the placement of everything. And then I will add some dimensionals to the circle that has the sentiment, and then I will place that right over in the middle. Just like that. And then I will add the snowflakes. I will add a little bit of color to the snowflakes. I feel like the white is a little bit much, but I'm not going to add that much color. The first snowflakes I did on the first card, I added a lot of color to, and I used some of the darker ink like the Moody Mauve. And with this one, I'm just going to use what is basically on the dauber, and then the lighter color. I think I used the Bubble Bath, and then I'm going to add those because I used Moody Mauve to do the blending of the circles, which is much darker. So I wanted to bring in a much lighter color for the snowflakes. I also tucked the snowflake under the circle. I think that is a nice just way to add a little bit more texture and visual interest to your card. And then the snowflake on the bottom I popped up. So then I added a few of these sequins, and I really liked using the tweezers to add the sequins. I usually use my X-Acto knife, and the tweezer was really nice to use that. So here are the two cards for Color Club right here. I really love the way that these came out. I slowed this down so that you could see the actual cards. And then there will be a picture on my website. And then again, if you would like to receive the card kits for this, please just make sure to place an order through Stampin' Up. Make sure you choose me as your demonstrator when you're checking out, and I will send that to you. These would be great to do in January, even if you don't have time to do the cards in December. That's why I wanted to do Snowflakes. I think it would be nice to do these even in January with some different sentiments. So I will be back tomorrow with another Craftmas video for you. And I hope that you are enjoying our Craftmas time together. There's another video here on the screen you can check out. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up so that YouTube is nice to me. And I will catch you in my next video tomorrow. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I will chat with you later.